Yo guys, what's going on? This video I'll be talking about how to land your first client as a thumbnail designer. This will be a complete no BS guide on how to do so. It's been 11 months since I've uploaded, so hopefully this video will make up for that, but I'll just get straight into it. And first things first is building proof for your clients. So whether you already have clients or whether you don't have a client, you'll definitely learn something in this video. And the first thing is building proof, okay? And what I mean by that is having, sample works in your portfolio. If you don't have a client, you're going to want to go online somewhere, find some inspiration, and make your own sample thumbnails to those who may come to you or those who you may reach out to use as, sample work to show them what you can do. If you already have clients, obviously you'll use your recent client work or your other old client works to help, build proof for, potential hire onto a YouTube channel. So you want to make sure that you have some type of portfolio, have some type of work to show these people that you may reach out to or the people that may reach out to you. And typically I'd say for those who are brand new to this, who don't have a client thumbnail sample or client thumbnail work, you want to make at least 5, just sample works for your portfolio, so that way you can reach a broader audience of clientele. So it may not be just all finance, it might be sports niche, it might be gaming niche, it might be something else. So you guys want to have a good range of thumbnails to show to other potential clients, and this will be as your portfolio. The next thing is posting your work on social media. So obviously when I say use your resources, if you guys use YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, typically you're on there in a consumer mindset and you're just watching, scrolling, using your resources and that nature. You could also use it for your benefit to help you grow as a designer. And so instead of using, these apps to mindlessly scroll or, healthily scroll, whatever, also use it to build your business. And how I say that is post consistently on there, post your thumbnail work on there, build this brand that you are wanting to build, so that other clients who may come across you could reach out to you a lot faster than you reaching out to them. And you want to post as much good work as you can on these platforms that you may post on, because this is what people are seeing. This is like your first impression of your brand. And so it would be a shame if they saw something that you really didn't care for and you posted it anyway. Honestly, the only way to work around that is if you're a really good thumbnail designer and your med work is really good in most people's eyes. And so that's the only way you could work around that. But typically you're going to want to post good work. You're going to want to post the work that you really tried hard on. And if you want to get that client, this is what you got to do. Okay, the next thing is reaching out smart. So obviously if you guys are newer into the thumbnail design game, you typically don't want to target the biggest creators. You could, but you want to go, you want to start small, okay? The reason for this is typically if you look for these bigger creators, there's a chance that they already have a thumbnail designer or the thumbnails may be a little harder to do. That's why I would say kind of lean towards smaller creators to build yourself up as a, thumbnail designer. As you're just starting out, you don't want to have to literally do some of the hardest thumbnails ever. You guys want to start off as where you're at. You don't want to shoot for the moon and you just got started. So I'd say if you're just now starting, look for channels that are 10,000 subs and below. Or honestly, it's up to you, to be quite honest with you, but I would shoot for a lower popularized YouTuber, because it's just a lot easier to close that client rather than shooting for somebody who has 1 million subs, because typically if they already have a thumbnail designer, you're going to have to beat them in their thumbnail design, and chances are they've already done the work, they've already got good thumbnails, so you don't really bring much to the table. And also just note that sure, the budget for somebody who's not as popular as somebody who has 1 million subs, the budget may not be the same, but if you're just getting started, you got to be able to start low and then make more. When I started doing thumbnails, I started charging $10 per thumbnail, $5 per thumbnail, and eventually I worked my way up from there. So most people aren't going to make thumbnails and then charge $100 off their first thumbnail. It's just most likely not going to happen. So You guys want to be reasonable in what you're doing. And also when you're reaching out to these guys, don't sound robotic. Like that's a complete turn off to a lot of people. Just be chill with what your response is going to be like. Don't act like you've had many clients. Like, that's the best way I can explain it to you. Don't act like you're begging. Be chill, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I put an example right here. Hey, I made this thumbnail for your last video. You can use it if you want to. Just wanted to show you what I can do. This will lead you to a potential client easy because you're offering value first. Instead of, obviously just making a thumbnail and then showing it to the person that you may potentially be your client, you already do a thumbnail for them as a sample and show them what you can do. In that way, that could be an even higher chance of closing that client. The next thing I'd say is keeping your clients is 100% very important, maybe the most important thing on this list, because if you can't keep your clients, you can't have consistent pay, and your pricing will probably fluctuate as well, because you're trying to accommodate possible new clients and then also trying to keep these clients as well that you already have, and it can get messy. So keeping your clients, very, very important. You guys want to stay consistent with your clients. If you have a deadline that you have to meet, try to get it before that deadline. If you started on Monday, they say, hey, I need a thumbnail by Wednesday, try to get it by Tuesday. You guys are brand new. You guys want to start off doing good. So that way, potentially, if you do a good job with this client, they could possibly refer you to another client. And word of mouth is so underrated. I'm telling you guys, you get another client, that client could turn into 3 just off of that. And so you guys want to make sure that you're treating your clients good by staying consistent and communicating. Be very authentic. Do not sit there and try to hide behind certain things. As a designer, you want to be 100% honest with your clients. If there's a certain thing that you cannot do or that you don't believe you can do, be straight up and say, hey, I don't think I can do this type of thumbnail. It seems a little bit, out of my reach, or I can't make this thumbnail and this deadline, I might not be able to do it. Otherwise, if you don't, and you just say, okay, I got it, and then you don't deliver on time, that's not a good look either. So you guys want to make sure you're being honest and consistent with their clients. Another thing I put up here, asking for CTR performance. You guys can do this. It's not a requirement at all, honestly. I don't even do this myself a lot of the time. But basically, you guys can ask your clients, hey, can you send me like the statistics on how this video did with my thumbnail? That can help you out a ton, because you can also add that to your social media to show people, hey, my thumbnails are working with this client. It's just another way of having, extra content to build your brand. And the next thing is suggest new thumbnail ideas. If your client doesn't really seem to have an idea of what they want, it's always good to go above and beyond when it comes to this and give your client an idea that you may have, because at the end of the day, you are the thumbnail designer. You are speaking from a certain level of expertise that they won't speak from. So you got to be able to communicate also, hey, let's do this instead, or let's try this instead, and handle that pretty much. And this is the last one. Honestly, I think this would be a no. I can make this a whole separate video, but landing high paying clients, for you guys who are just getting brand new, I wouldn't worry about this right now. Your main focus is literally getting your first client and keeping that client. I'm not saying if you don't keep them, you just suck at designing. Obviously not. Some clients are going to go, some clients are going to stay. But you want to make sure that you're maximizing that as much as you can. And so with landing high-paying clients, very simple. I'm going to go over it very briefly, but honestly, I could turn this into another video. I think I will, actually. First things first is don't let your clients run you. What I mean by that is, if your client has a specific deadline and that deadline is like you cannot meet it, most likely, or it will be very hard for you to meet, don't sit there and just say, okay, I'll try to get it done. Let these clients know, hey, I may not be able to get it done right then and there. I could rush it out for you, but I'll have to charge more since of the time constraint on me. I'll charge maybe $28 extra just for you to get this thumbnail a little faster. If you guys typically deliver in like 2 days and they may want it in 1 day, that's literally totally fine. Just charge more. That will also help you get high paying clients, because now you're adding more money onto the table for their convenience. The next thing is starting high in negotiations. Obviously, if you're starting out new, you don't want to do this because your work is most likely not going to be good to even start high. So if you're typically in the average to above average of thumbnail designers, you can start high in negotiations. May not be like, let's just say you charge 40 normally, you can charge 50 or 60, see what that does. And if it don't work out, then go back to your normal pace. But it's always good to start higher, because if you're looking to scale your business, you obviously don't want to start with a lower number. You want to start with something high, and if they can't meet that, then you just work on a base pay and use that as your, default when it comes to reaching out to clients. And the next thing is reaching out to popular YouTubers. Obviously, if you are at the point where you have good thumbnails, then you can reach out to popular YouTubers and most likely land that client. I won't say it's every time, but it could be a 80-20 type of thing, depending upon the creator. If they already have thumbnails done, it could be 80% chance you make it or a 20% chance you make it. Typically, that 20% chance is if someone has a designer already, or you just might not be able to meet their expectations. But that is literally what I've done to help me out a ton in landing my first client. I actually started on Fiverr my first time, and that actually helped me kind of switch over to Twitter. And then I was able, by that time, to already have a bunch of clients behind my belt. So I'm telling you guys, use these as an example. You will get a client eventually. This stuff will happen. I'm not a magician. I'm not a wizard. I'm not going to sit there and say you will get a client on this day or before this time. But what I will tell you is that these will definitely increase your chances. I could probably say guarantee you a client at least within a year. I mean, easily. I wouldn't even say a year, maybe like 6 months, a month or so. It's going to happen. So be consistent with this. That's all I really have for this video. So you guys can let me know what you guys think about it in the comments below. I didn't want it to be too long. And yeah.